Introduction. By raising our students' awareness of reading as a skill that requires active engagement, and by teaching explicable reading strategies, we help our students to develop good pronunciation, articulation, rhythm, fluency, and accuracy. Goals. Good pronunciation. Use of appropriate rhythm and stress to achieve well-paced, fluent reading. To build important literacy skills such as comprehension. Process. Select topics which are related to students' interests and experiences, or explore universal contemporary themes and issues. During reading, read with a purpose in mind and give complete attention to the reading task. Create visual images. Focus on unity and coherence, articulation, and good pronunciation. Identify with and develop an understanding of the character's story. After reading, reread important words when necessary. Paraphrase and summarize major ideas. Recognize how particular elements create moods or tones. Seek additional information from other sources as needed or desired.
Page 4. A piece of cheese. One day, a crow flew past a window. The crow saw a piece of cheese. It took the cheese. The crow flew to the top of the tree with the cheese. A fox saw the crow and the piece of cheese. The fox was hungry. It wanted the cheese. It called to the crow, "Crow, your wings are so beautiful. You fly faster than any other bird. Your claws are prettier than any other bird's claws. Your beak is the most beautiful beak in the world, but you cannot sing." The crow was very happy to hear the fox's words. So the crow opened its beak to sing. The cheese fell out. The fox picked up the cheese and ran away with it. The fox said the crow was beautiful. It did not say the crow was intelligent. Page 6. Frogs and toads. There are more than 2,500 kinds of frogs and toads in the world. There are more frogs than toads. Toads have fat bodies and short legs. Frogs have long back legs. Frogs and toads live mainly in warm countries. They like damp places, but some live in deserts and keep water in their bodies. Some frogs are called tree frogs. Tree frogs spend almost all their lives in trees. Frogs and toads lay eggs. Tadpoles hatch out of the eggs. Tadpoles have long tails and round black heads. Tadpoles live in the water. After 10 weeks, the tadpoles change into a frog or a toad. First, it grows legs, then it loses its tail. It is now ready to hop out of the water. Frogs spend more time in the water than toads. Page 8. Dinosaurs. Millions of years ago, strange animals lived on Earth. At that time, there were no people at all, so the dinosaurs ruled the Earth. Some were quick and intelligent, like Tyrannosaurus rex and Velociraptor. They hunted other dinosaurs, like Apatosaurus and Iguanodon. These dinosaurs only ate plants and were not very quick, so they couldn't run away easily. We know a lot about dinosaurs, even though the last ones died nearly 70 million years ago. But how? Scientists have found their bones in the ground and put them back together again. These bones tell us what the dinosaurs looked like, how big they were, what they used to eat, and even what sorts of places they used to live in. In nearly every country in the world, museums have collections of dinosaur bones, which you can look at and imagine how they lived. There are lots of books and films about dinosaurs, so it's not different to find out more about them. Page 10. Wild animals. Some animals, for example cats, live with us at home. Other animals live in the zoo, so we can visit them and look at them. Other animals live in the wild. Elephants normally live in the wild. Some elephants live in the forest and jungles in Africa, and some live in India. African elephants have larger ears than Indian elephants. Elephants are the largest land animals. The tallest animals are giraffes. They have long legs and long necks. There are many different kinds of cats. Some cats, big cats like lions, tigers, and leopards, live in the wild. Leopards live in forests in Africa and Asia. Some have spots, but others are almost black. Page 12. Finding a meal. Every animal on Earth must eat something in order to stay alive. Many animals eat some parts of plants. Giraffes munch leaves from the tall trees on the African plain. Koala bears in Australia only eat eucalyptus leaves in the forest. Even the mighty buffalo in America only eat grass. Some animals are predators, which means they eat some other creature. Lots of predators will catch and eat small animals like mice and rabbits. Larger fish eat smaller fish. Big predators in Africa, like lions and leopards, will attack all kinds of big animals, even elephants. Animals that predators eat are called prey. With predators all around them, animals need some ways to protect themselves. One form of protection is camouflage. This means that the animal's outside appearance allows it to blend into its surroundings, so it is harder for a predator to find it. Some predators use camouflage too. Predators need camouflage so that prey animals cannot see the predator nearby. Page 14. Rose for Mother. A man stopped at a flower shop to order some flowers to be wired to his mother, who lived 200 miles away. As he got out of his car, he noticed a young girl sitting on the curb sobbing. He asked her what was wrong, and she replied, "I wanted to buy a red rose for my mother, but I only have 75 cents, and a rose costs $2. The man smiled and said, "Come on in with me. I'll buy you a rose." He bought the little girl her rose and ordered his own mother's flowers. As they were leaving, he offered the girl a ride home. She said, "Yes, please. You can take me to my mother." She directed him to a cemetery, where she placed the rose on a freshly dug grave. The man returned to the flower shop, canceled the wire order, picked up a bouquet, and drove 200 miles to his mother's house. Moral: life is short. Spend much time as you can, loving and caring for people you love. Enjoy each moment with them before it's too late. There is nothing important than family. Page 16. Smartest man in the world. A doctor, a lawyer, a little boy, and a priest were out for a Sunday afternoon flight on a small private plane. Suddenly, the plane developed engine trouble. In spite of the best efforts of the pilot, the plane started to go down. Finally, the pilot grabbed a parachute and yelled to the passengers that they better jump, and he himself bailed out. Unfortunately, there were only 3 parachutes remaining. The doctor grabbed one and said, "I'm a doctor. I save lives, so I must live," and jumped out. The lawyer then said, "I'm a lawyer, and lawyers are the smartest people in the world. I deserve to live." He also grabbed a parachute and jumped. The priest looked at the little boy and said, "My son, I've lived a long and full life. You are young and have your whole life ahead of you. Take the last parachute and live in peace." The little boy handed the parachute back to the priest and said, "Not to worry, Father. The smartest man in the world just took off with my backpack." Moral: your job doesn't always define you, but being a good human being does. Page 18. The amazing giraffe. Giraffes are the tallest animals on Earth. Male giraffes can grow to a height of about 17 feet. If you lived in a 2-story house, an adult giraffe could look into your bedroom window on the 2nd floor. Giraffes only live on the continent of Africa. The only giraffes in the United States are found in zoos or animal parks. Visitors love to see the giraffes because they are so tall. Besides standing on long legs, giraffes have the longest neck of any animal. The neck of a giraffe can be 8 feet long. Giraffes love to eat leaves. With their great height, giraffes easily eat leaves from the tops of acacia trees. Giraffes get enough food because no other animals can reach the same food that giraffes like. Giraffes spend most of their time eating. Giraffes don't sleep much. They just take short naps while standing up. Giraffes don't drink much water. They get most of the water they need from the leaves they eat. It is very hard for an adult giraffe to get a drink of water from a stream or pool. Giraffes are beautiful animals. They have an unusual coat that has large brown spots on a cream-colored background. There are many different kinds of giraffes across Africa. Each kind of giraffe has a slightly different shape to their spots. A giraffe's coat pattern helps it to blend in with the landscape in which they live. Page 21. Good habits. A habit is something that we do regularly. We do it because we have been taught to do it. We pick up some habits as we grow up. Some habits are good. Some habits are bad. We should only develop good habits. I get up early in the morning. I brush my teeth daily. I go for a morning walk. I take a bath after coming back. I put on a clean uniform. Then I pray to God. I take my breakfast. I go to school every day. I reach school on time. I pay attention in class. I always do my homework. Everybody loves me. Page 23. The refrigerator. A refrigerator is an electrical appliance and is now common in most modern houses. A refrigerator keeps food and drinks fresh. The refrigerator is called fridge for short. The body of a refrigerator is made of steel or aluminum. A refrigerator looks like a cupboard. It has a number of shelves. We can store water, fruits, vegetables, bread, butter, cheese, jams, milk, and even cooked food in the fridge. The fridge uses electricity to keep food and drinks fresh and cool. Food does not go bad in a fridge. We can also store ice cream and frozen food in the freezer. We can also make ice in the freezer. A refrigerator is an important invention of science. Page 25. Steve's life. Steve was born in Tokyo, Japan in 1950. He moved to London with his parents when he was 5 years old. Steve started school there and his father began work at the hospital. His mother was a housewife and he had 4 brothers. He lived in England for 2 years, then moved to Amman, Jordan, where he lived there for 10 years. Steve then moved to Cyprus to study at the Mediterranean University. Unfortunately, he did not succeed and returned to Jordan. His parents were very unhappy, so he decided to try in America. He applied to many colleges and universities in the States and finally got some acceptance offers from them. He chose Wichita State University in Kansas. His major was biomedical engineering. He stayed there for about 6 months, and then he moved again to a very small town called Greensboro to study in a small college. Page 27. My special friend. My friend George is a 9-year-old boy. He cannot speak, so we understand each other with the help of sign language. He is able to understand what I say. We study in the same class. He is very intelligent. One day, George was hurt. Some of our friends made fun of him. He was very sad. He made a big cross on a sheet of paper to show that he was angry. George ran home after school. I went to his house in the evening. I told him that I loved him because he was a good boy. I also told him that those boys hurt him because they were not good. They did not have a loving heart to understand him. George smiled at me. One needs a beautiful mind and heart to make others happy. Page 29. Who or what do we love more? A man was polishing his new car. His 4-year-old daughter picked up a stone and scratched on the side of the car. In anger, the furious man took his child's hand and hit it many times, not realizing he was using a wrench. At the hospital, the child lost all his fingers due to multiple fractures. When the child saw her father, with painful eyes, he asked, "Dad, when will my fingers grow back?" The man was so hurt and speechless. He went back to the car and kicked it many times. Devastated by his own actions, sitting in front of the car, he looked at the scratches. His daughter had written, "Love you, Dad." Moral: remember, anger and love have no limit. Always remember that things are to be used and people are to be loved. But the problem in today's world is that people are being used and things are being loved. Page 31. Fear versus respect. Long time ago, very cruel king named Virat Singh was ruling the city of Vijayanagar. All citizens were fearful because of his cruelty. Virat has a dog named Jack, which he used to love more than anything. One fateful morning, Jack died. Virat Singh organized last rituals for dog. Entire city came to cremation ground. Virat Singh was very happy to see that people loved him so much, and he felt he is the most popular king in the world. After a few days, Virat Singh died, but no one came for his funerals. Moral: respect is something you have to earn. You cannot force it on others to respect you. There is a thin line between fear and respect. Every one of us should understand it and do necessary corrections in our personalities. Page 33. A visit to fairyland. Little Larry was going to school. He saw that his shoelaces were not tied. He sat under a tree to tie them. Suddenly, he began to fall. Larry was scared. He looked around. He landed on a stack of hay. He closed his eyes and then opened them. A fairy godmother was standing in front of him. He had a magic wand in his hand. He said to Larry, "Make a wish." Larry gave a big smile. Then he asked for a chocolate house. The fairy waved his wand from left to right. Soon Larry was sitting inside of a chocolate house. Candies, gems, and lollipops were hanging from its walls and doors. Larry plucked a candy and he heard his mother call out, "Larry, get up, my dear, and go to school." Page 35. Deserts. Deserts are very dry places. There is so little water that almost nothing grows in them. There are deserts in the Middle East, Africa, Central Asia, South and North America, and Australia. More than 1/4 of all land on Earth is covered by deserts. Other deserts are covered by rocks and pebbles. Sandy deserts are always changing because the wind blows the sand into different shapes. In the daytime, deserts are very hot. At night, temperatures fall and it can be very cold. Although deserts are very dry, There are places where you can find water. You can dig a well to reach water that is under the ground. There are also springs where water comes up from the ground. Not many animals live in the desert, but there are a few, for example, snakes, foxes, and lizards. Some people live in the desert as well. They are called Bedouin. They move from one well to another, or from one spring to another.